talk about Munna, he comes from a certain privilege. This thing, Dev is a very outcast sort of a guy, you know. While Munna really romanticizes, enjoys the space, the world he is in, Dev totally detests the thing here.
नॉर्मली मेरी आदत है मैं बुरी चीज़ों को अंडर द कार्पेट डाल के ज़्यादा ध्यान नहीं देता कि ठीक है लाइफ आगे बढ़ाते हैं, इट इज़ कूल. बट इस कैरेक्टर के लिए मुझे वो सारे बुरे एक्सपीरियंसेस, दर्दनाक एक्सपीरियंसेस या कुछ भी इमोशनल बैगेज, उन सबको मेरे सामने लाके महसूस करना पड़ा, उनसे फेस टू फेस बैठना पड़ा.
You could still tell a story over 8 episodes, 10 episodes. It's not like they only want to watch those vertical microdramas, for example. Yeah. But I think you cannot have very long shots, for example, that just linger on. Like you'll have to cut them quicker. And I think that sort of trend is catching on.
Hello everyone, welcome to Cinema Express. I think the most different thing about Glory, what I saw in the trailer and the first couple of episodes, it's straddling in a lot of directions at once. It like murder mystery bhi hai. There's also a dysfunctional relationship drama, it seems like, and also this sports background. So Karan, I want to start with you. Like, what was your starting point for conceiving this idea, for getting this show on ground?
There was no one starting point, you know. It was literally a whole bunch of things, and honestly, it's a very calculated. It wasn't inspired by one thing here or there. There was, Karmani and I sat down to figure out what is it that we really want to do, and you know, it was literally like over one evening we were like, okay, we need to do a sports drama, but let's maybe add another genre to it, which in this case became a murder mystery, but also keeping up with the times in terms of how streaming has evolved in the last few years, especially post-COVID, in a very crowded situation where attention economy is such a big thing. It's about how do we make it super propulsive at the same time. So we had to have an action element to it where every clue is unearthed by an action set piece.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're going and examining things with a magnifying glass, but literally it's like, who do we beat up to get the next clue out of, right? So that became the language of it. And then in terms of where to set it, I think Haryana was, I just didn't want to repeat any of the situations or locales that I had worked in or milieux that I had done anything before, and explore something. And for a filmmaker also, the whole point is to have fun every day and see new things. So we went to Haryana with it, where boxing is a very big the culturally so important and strong and present in places like Bhiwani and Rohtak, where we went on our research trips, and it was an eye-opening situation. So we wrote a little bit of a draft, we went in, soaked it all in, spoke to so many people, from coaches to families who brought their like 10-year-olds into this space. We spoke to extremely motivated coaches, boxers, but also the man on the street and how they perceive what they think of their town being home to 200 boxing institutions, which go from something in someone's backyard to some completely like world-class level infrastructure that you have. The headquarters of Indian boxing is there. There's so much material to work in that we were really spoiled for choice in that sense, and then we really sort of then put it all together and wrote it.
Okay. Divyenndu, like, आपके लिए, like, obviously there's a lot of research that went in because it's completely seeped in that landscape. आपके लिए क्या surprising था as you read the script, as you went on for the shooting of this show? What was surprising for you as in terms of learning about Haryana and that world?
Surprising, honestly, मेरे लिए यही था, मुझे नहीं पता था that part of the world, Haryana, में इतना, it's such a center of boxing and everything. That felt very unreal because I come from Delhi, हालांकि बहुत साल हो गए छोड़े हुए. I absolutely had no clue that this was happening there. So it was, hiding in plain sight sort of a situation. To discover that was really surprising. बाकी चीज़ें surprising नहीं थी because they come from a very like a human emotional space. तो वो करते हुए पढ़ते हुए बहुत मज़ा आया. surprising was the how they wrote everything, and there are so many twists and turns, and when you think that okay, you got it, this character this time, and it's completely changes, there's this someone else and everything, so it's like a cat and mouse chase all throughout the thing. That was very surprising. Rest, it was very good. That was not a surprise.
Okay. And like you two have previously collaborated on an iconic character which shall not be named, but how is this different from like your previous collaboration in terms of what did you find Dave? What
How
was
is
the
Dave
brief?
different from Munna?
Yeah.
Now thou shall not be named, Jew, like he said.
We can say it.
It was a mic drop nahi hai, ye glove drop moment. No, it's there are hardly any similarities here. Hardly. They both come from a very different sort of spaces. You talk about Munna, he comes from a certain privilege. This thing. Dev is a very outcast sort of a guy. While Munna really romanticizes, enjoys the space, the world he is in, Dev totally detests the thing here. So completely different beings.
I would say it's the exact opposite, in fact.
Yeah,
Actually, yeah.
of this
And
thing.
From the first.
essentially, Dave is a good person.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing which drives him to,
Yeah.
to leave his thing, this thing, and coming back to Shaktigarh is coming from a very personal space. So hardly any similarities.
True,
man.
that's right, yeah. Pulkit, like जब आपने script पढ़ा, what was the most challenging part for you to understand about this character? Because जो first scene था काफी interesting था, that he's not like willing to raise his hand, and we get an intrigue about कि क्या चल रहा है इसका, what is his background. So what was the challenging part of understanding this character who is compelled to come back to this boxing ring again and to pursue this thing?
सबसे इंटरेस्टिंग और सबसे चैलेंजिंग मेरे लिए यही रहा है कि मतलब देयर इज़ फिजिकल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन नीडेड एंड ऑल दैट स्टफ इज़ देयर, बट टू वर्क ऑन द सोल ऑफ द कैरेक्टर जो कागज़ पे लिखा है, जब पहली बार पढ़ा तो समझ में आया कि ये जो कैरेक्टर है, जो रवि है, उसके अंदर बहुत से राज छुपे हुए हैं एंड ही इज़ गोइंग थ्रू अ लॉट, बट ही इज़ नॉट वेरी रिएक्टिव टू हिज सिचुएशंस, ही इज़ नॉट वेरी इम्पल्सिव एंड he tries to handle situations in a very different manner. तो ये मेरे लिए एक नया रास्ता था जिस पे मुझे चलना था, एंड जिसका मतलब था कि मुझे अपने अंदर के डीमंस को खुद देखना था, क्योंकि नॉर्मली मेरी आदत है मैं बुरी चीज़ों को अंडर द कार्पेट डाल के ज़्यादा ध्यान नहीं देता कि ठीक है लाइफ आगे बढ़ाते हैं, इट इज़ कूल. बट इस कैरेक्टर के लिए मुझे वो सारे बुरे एक्सपीरियंसेस, दर्दनाक एक्सपीरियंसेस या कुछ भी इमोशनल बैगेज, उन सबको मेरे सामने लाके महसूस करना पड़ा, उनसे फेस टू फेस बैठना पड़ा टू अंडरस्टैंड कि ये फीलिंग होती कैसी है. एंड दैट इज़ ऑल्सो चेंज्ड मी एज अ पर्सन पर्सनली. आई थिंक it's been a character that has given me growth personally.
Right. Because like some of your more popular works have been like the comedy films, like the Fukre franchise, of course. Rahu Ketu came recently. So like, does it become too difficult to suddenly change gears when those are the more roles you have done more often, and does it become too difficult when you have to get into this world?
I would say it would be difficult if you don't have the right team to work with, and I'm blessed that on Glory we had the best team. And we have the best writing on paper. We have the best creator our country has. So everything just fell into place. I just had to be honest to what I'm doing, and I just had to surrender to all these people. That's it.
Okay. Karan, you mentioned earlier about attention economy, because that's I think one thing which has changed since the advent of OTT in India, I would say.
Sorry, I missed that. What? Economy?
Attention
Attention
economy.
economy.
Attention economy.
Yeah.
Okay. When did you?
Just
mention
previous
Karan.
answer.
You know what we are lacking right now.
Yeah.
Economy. Oh, where was I?
Yeah, because जब मिर्ज़ापुर आया था, जब सीक्रेट गेम्स आया था, तो like काफ़ी एक स्पेस दिख रहा था where you can explore a lot of different kind of ideas and a different kind of styling. Do you think there is some changes come in terms of room for experimentation or room for, you know, different aspects like pacing or I don't know, the way you plot a show. Do you think-
100%. See, everything is cyclic, okay? Like, we can't be saying, okay, this is the formula. Otherwise, for 100 years, like, the whole idea is that otherwise, we would have cracked that story and that same story would have worked again and again and again. But that cannot happen. So, of course, at some point, you're going to reach critical mass and then things are just not going to work anymore. And then you have to experiment again. I don't know where we are exactly in that cycle right now, but things are shifting. I know there is a very essential need to be a little bit more. There's little, and this is not a good thing, but people have less patience now. Okay, so you could still tell a story over 8 episodes or 10 episodes. It's not like they only want to watch those vertical micro dramas, for example.
Yeah.
But I think you cannot have very long shots, for example, that just linger on. Like, you'll have to cut them quicker. And I think that sort of trend is catching on. Is it a good thing? I don't know. I'm not sure. I just recently watched the 50th anniversary of the Jaws restored
Right, of
4K
course.
version. And it's like a festival film, you know, right now at this point.
True.
You know,
Feels
this is
like
the kind
that.
of film you'd go to like a festival and watch, and there's a like long shot. Every scene is like long, and then there'll be like 5 cuts in like a 4-minute scene. For the first half, it's just a build-up. You don't see the actual monster until like 45 minutes in. There'll be a soliloquy in the middle of, you know, the third act about something completely unrelated, which in this case is like, you know, this man's personal story about how he delivered the atom bomb. I was like, you know, and it's been a while since I saw it, and to see it now, it's insane how it is, but it still works. I think from a film making perspective, it's completely stood the test of time. But that's my perspective. I don't know if a regular Gen Z, Gen Alpha audience will be able to sit through that. I don't know.
So, like, the styling has definitely changed, and
It is changing. It is evolving.
And it must. It should. Yeah. The style
because there's a
should
lot
change.
of talk about like
Style of
how far
making
this will,
is what
of course,
I'm
of
saying.
course.
Not the other.
Other as in
As in the other things you said, the attention span and
Yeah, yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Not like a one blanket answer. No, I mean just that part.
अभी जैसे माइक्रो ड्रामास की बात करी सर ने, डू यू वॉच एनी ऑफ लाइक डू यू कीप अप विद अदर शोज और न्यूअर थिंग्स दैट आर हैपनिंग इन टर्म्स ऑफ ओटीटी?
मैं माइक्रो ड्रामास तक इन्फेक्टेड नहीं हुआ अभी तक. Not that
Okay.
much. But yeah, but I love to watch different kind of things. Definitely different kind of storytelling. Yes, definitely yes.
Pulkit, what about you?
I do explore various kind of content that comes out there.
Okay.
And and now there is so much of content that you can, you know, there's something for everybody.
Right.
So I think that's a boon.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because अभी इतना सारा content है, like some people see that as a challenge also, because how do audience pick like what to watch, because there's so many options. At the same time, like, do you think there is possible to market your shows in a way where you can find your niche in, like, for a show like this? Like, to be honest, like audiences usually, you know, they prefer by genres, like in terms of they say कि rom-com देखनी है मुझे, या मुझे murder mystery देखनी है. How do you pitch, like, for audience, how do you pitch a show like this? Where do you place it?
I don't necessarily agree with that, because literally every single person and their grandmom saw Dhurandhar, for example. So it's not like, and despite, you know, whatever, it's not, anyway. So
Yeah, no, people I think want to watch something which is engaging.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way. Irrespective of the genre they want to see. We have to give them something which is engaging. That's very important.
So niche, of course, there'll always be a niche for every single thing, but it is possible to have breakout hits, and I think we're seeing more and more of that. So if something captures the imagination of the public, there's every chance of everyone watching it.
And that's the beauty of especially OTT at least. You know, you make a small little show on a small little platform also. If it's nice, people will discover it.
People discover it.
And
yes.
people go and watch it.
think
So
at the end,
it's
yeah.
in the whole bheed of, you know, content and everything, you get the fragrance of something which is nice and, you know, cooking under the table somewhere. So people do take notice of it.
I think anything that's good, that is rewarded at the end of
Yeah,
the day. So,
yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily get shared on the online media. It gets shared on your, during your dinner conversations.
Right.
It gets shared during your office hours
Right.
when you're talking to each other. That's where people share their excitement. Oh, this is new, something
Coming up,
new that
yeah.
has come. So I think every story just finds its audience.
Okay. If we have to, I know it's a very difficult question, but if you have to sum up this show, Glory, in one word, what would you say?
Glory in one word. I would say.
Why would you ask that? Like, it's so unfair to the show, to us, to everything. Why would you want a full show to be
Like
one word?
to just sum up the
That
essence
one
of
word
it.
would be Netflix then.
Okay.
You know,
Not
because
necessarily
if-
one word, but a brief, like a summary of it. A very, like, how do you think it stands out? How do you think it stands apart in the other crop of shows that are coming up?
We
Not
honestly
necessarily a
don't
word.
even know if it's going to stand out. I mean, you know, people will watch it on 1st of May and decide if it's going to. Yeah, let's not oversell here. Definitely.
Okay, fair enough.
So, yeah, I mean, just watch it. It's a good show, you know. It's not like life or death or anything, you know. किसी का फर्ज नहीं है ये show देखना. So, अगर if you like the trailer, you like the content, if you like us, you know, as creators, as actors, go watch the show, man.
This
Yeah.
is too honest an answer. Just like,
Okay.
I mean, we are marketing the show right now. No, I think it's something very fresh, and it's something that people will really get into. I'm hoping, and it has been designed like that. I would say it's been conceived like that. It's not been beaten into a shape, but it has taken shape that is very much to engage, because the thematic push that we are going for is very unique, and I think that is what should stand out.
All right. Anyway, from whatever I've seen of the show, it like the premise looks very interesting. The first 2 episodes, and
How
that,
about
like,
you tell us? First 2 episodes, what's your thing?
my thing is I didn't see the twist coming. Like I told you at the end of the first episode, I was not prepared for that. And some of the, like, the way the camera moves in some of the action sequences, like those things catch your attention, because like you said, the style is changing, and maybe you cannot keep long shots anymore. So maybe as a creator, we have to find newer ways, and some of those things in terms of the styling choices, I'm liking. I find them interesting so far. But I'm curious to see how the story proceeds in the next, I don't know, 5 or 6 episodes after first 2. So
it's a good start, you're
Lovely.
saying.
That's a good start. It's a good start. So yeah,
Well,
looking
begun
forward
is
to the
half
rest
won.
of the episodes.
I would say Glory is a kind of a new genre in itself. It's we have never seen sports and a crime thriller or a murder mystery coming together, and that layering, it's not just a simple layering कि दो genres के content को हम मिला देते हैं आपस में. There's a lot of thought that has gone in the writing and creation of this thing.
नहीं, वो काफी interesting
हाँ,
blend तो
लेकिन
है.
मजा आना चाहिए.
At the end of it, yeah, that's what matters.
That's what we are going for.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, looking forward to the rest of the show, and thank you for taking your time.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
buddy. Thank you.